We're grateful to our Creator for giving us this opportunity, and this is not by accident. This is by divine design that we're here and we're able to do this. And this is a huge blessing from God, and so we should be keenly aware of this favor that God has bestowed upon us. This is not something that should be taken for granted, and we should be always keenly aware of the benefits that we are getting from this hour, and this should be really the highlight of our week, that we are here and in a congregational way we commemorate and praise and glorify God, and that gets us closer to God, and that is the best thing that could happen to us. The favor that God has put upon us is not something that we should take lightly, and this is something that so far we have deserved, and this huge blessing, and so we should remain steadfast, and so ask God to keep us worthy of this huge favor and blessing that He's put upon us. So we should make sure that we understand it, and it's always in forefront of our minds, and so never forget this, that this is a blessing from God, and God is always with us, and so we should be staying close to Him as much as possible and as much as we can by remembering and commemorating that day and night. And so that's the only way that we can get close to God and stay and enjoy the company of God. So these are something that we should take to heart, and as I said, learn it by heart, and something that we should always cherish. So again, we're grateful to Him for this opportunity, and gratefulness is a godlike quality, and we should follow God's path, which is a straight path, and never deviate from that straight path. That's the only way that we can return to God. So today, what I wanted to talk to you about is, I wanted to go to and let's see here. Okay, 2:18. God is telling us that, or like a storm from the sky full of darkness, thunder, and lightning, they cover their ears from the concussion, fleeing death. However, God is completely surrounding the unfaithful. Okay, so I'm just going to go through this more. And then he says, if something good happens to you, they dislike it. And if something bad happens to you, they rejoice because of it. And if you are patient and maintain reverence, their scheming will not harm you in the least. Indeed, God is encompassing everything they do. Okay, so then God says, and do not be like those who exit their homes with a fake smile in order to impress people and repel from the path of God. And God has fully encompassed everything they do. Okay, so we can go through this, and I just want to say that this is really the time for us for atonement. And what do I mean by that? Well, that means that every bad thing that we've done, God was always there, and always here, and always will be here. Okay? So this is the time to atone for our sins. So I went through this idea of telling you about this collective consciousness that God has created. Okay? So, in order to instill some fear in the hearts of those people who continue denying God's signs. Okay? And rejecting His signs. Every verse in there is a sign from God. It's a proof from God. It's proof for God. So we went through this, and then a lot of people complained, well, God knew that it was going to be like this, so why did He create us? Why did He create us this way? As in 16:35, God says that, so that they say that if God didn't will this, neither us nor our parents would be idol worshippers. We'll all would be okay. God said they don't know what they're talking about. They're saying something which is not true about God when they say that. Now the collective consciousness is that you do this in front of God. God knows that you're going to do that, but the rest of His creation doesn't know that. The rest of the creation, which is this collective consciousness that God has created, they all now know about it. The sin that you commit. So it is time for atonement. It's time to repent to God and choose a different path. So we continue on this path, they do this in front of God and then in front of His creation. Okay? They talk about the so-called quantum entanglement. That means that no particle is alone by itself. It's always interacting in a group. So if you remove that particle, it still remembers that it was part of that group. So you cannot get rid of the bad things that you did. They're all witnessed. All of it. God knows about it. Of course He does. But now the rest of the creation know about it too. Everyone in there knows about it now. Because they never forget it. That's how God designed them. If you are disturbing one of these objects in there, the entire balance of the system is going to collapse. They're all going to get agitated, so to speak. And you'll see the consequence of that agitation in different ways. Okay? So it is time for atonement. It is time for saying that, look, I made these mistakes. I'm sorry I made these mistakes. And I repent to you, atone for your sins. All of those things, as you read those verses and you did exactly the opposite of those verses. God said, do not gossip, you gossip. God said, you should not lie, you lied. God said, you should not commit adultery, you did. God said, you should not steal, you did. Okay? And by stealing doesn't mean somebody is going to go and pick up a loaf of bread from the grocery store. That's stealing, obviously, but that's not what I mean. Immediately their mind goes to that. No. The idea that you're stealing an idea from somebody and not recognizing the source, that's stealing. God knows about it. And so the rest of His creation know about it too. And you'll be completely exposed on the day of judgment. That's why He warns us about it. The witnesses will come forth. Okay? So we go through this. Okay? The key word here is muhit, which means surrounds, encompasses, coming from every direction. So that's who God is. We're sitting here, we're all surrounded by God. We exist within God. I've said this so many times. Okay? We exist within God. Okay. Then he said, oh my people, Is my crime mightier for it? Is my crime mightier for you than God? They were afraid of people instead of God. And is it why you are turning your back to Him, to God? Indeed, my Lord encompasses everything you do. It's right there. Okay? He's aware of what you're doing. He sees it, He hears it, He knows it, and you cannot escape that. On the top of that, He said, okay, now you're exposed in front of my creation too. But I also know that you're a liar, that you're a cheat, you're a thief. Because you were required to do something that I commanded and you didn't do. Because you refused to do the right thing. Okay? You just go like this, okay, and then. Okay? It says, absolutely, they are certainly doubtful about meaning the Lord. Absolutely, He surely encompasses all things. Okay, everything is encompassed by God. We exist within God. This is what I said that in so many times. Some people probably thought I'm saying this from outside the world. No. No, I'm not. Existence within God means we're surrounded by God from every direction. God is within us and without us. Okay? He's here. And as I said, He created the collective consciousness in order to warn us that, look, it's not just me. Okay? Now, everybody in my creation knows these are all witnesses. Okay? And God has completely surrounded them without their knowledge. Of course, because they think God is someplace else. That's what they think. That's what people think. People think God is someplace else. It's some obscure entity that exists someplace else, and we're really far away from it. So, in order to basically pacify ourselves, we think of it that way, so we can do anything we want to. No, that's not the way it works. Okay? There is no pacifying. There is no reassuring yourself that God is someplace else and He doesn't care what you do. There are some people who say that. You think He cares about it? Yes, of course He does. And that's another trick. All these tricks, there's a bag of tricks that you confront every day when you argue with people who do not believe. And then you may gravitate towards their way also, which is very, very dangerous. Okay? So, let the disbelievers or the unfaithful do what they want to. Doesn't make any difference. We know who God is. Okay? So we should be careful. You should know that what we are doing in front of God. And I said this before too. So the reason that we're here, go through this test. Who's going to the outcome of the test? Who's going to obey and who's not going to obey? Who's going to do the wrong thing in spite of knowing that that is the wrong thing? And then blame it on God. that had God willed, we would not have been idol worshippers, neither our forefathers. So God wanted us to be idol worshippers. That's why we are idol worshippers. That's why we are lying. That's why we are cheating. God meant for us to be like this. And God says clearly He does not advocate evil. He's given us the options, of course. He didn't create automatons. He didn't create robots that can be programmed to do certain things. They've been given the hearing, the eyesight, and the mind, and we're responsible for using them. So stop fooling yourselves by bringing these kind of arguments into the midst. And had God willed, we would not be like this. He wanted us to be bad. He wanted us to be liars. That's why we are lying. No, you know lying is bad, so don't lie. You try to hide your lies. When you commit a sin, you want to hide that sin because you know it is wrong. Okay, so those kind of arguments are not going to win anything. The rest of the creation knows it. Okay? The lie that you did is going to catch up with you and affect every particle in your body. And they wouldn't like it. You think that those particles are going to give you a safe home, mentally and physically? No. And so that is the start of bad things happening to people, and then they say, well, you know, what happens to me? And then God intervenes, and He rescues you from your own mistakes. Give the scientists the idea of creating vaccine in less than a year. Year is not gone yet, and the vaccine is there. And it's 95% efficacious. Okay? He saved us from our own mistakes. And then we continue doing the same thing. Continue to act irresponsible, act arrogant, act self-centered, that I am the one that I don't want to go through these stuff. I am the one who has no regard for the rest of the humanity. So I should have the right to do this and that and the other. Okay? So God knows that these people are making the wrong decision in spite of knowing that it is wrong. He gave us that knowledge. We know that. You don't have to be told. We know that lying is bad. That's why we don't want to be called a liar. Okay? So this is the time for that atonement. Say, okay, look, I did all of these things. God was right there, and I did it right in front of Him. And then He brought witnesses along. So you have no excuse for me to well, this guy only knew the other people didn't know. Look at me. Okay? They didn't know. I didn't do anything wrong. It's my word against yours. No, the witnesses are there, and they are going to bring testimony. And He warned us about all of those things. The witnesses are going to be brought forth. And so this is the time for atonement again, as I said last week. We do this with the full knowledge that it's between us and God, that individual and God and no one else. Nobody can interfere. Okay? It's a one-on-one type of relation between that individual and God. Okay? And so there are no times for excuses. accuser of God. These things are explained in the Quran vividly. So we should take heed, we should take it to heart, we should learn it by heart, we should obey these commandments, try to, at least, put a step forward, and try to do it. That's the only way we can do it. That's the only way we can be closer to God. And when I mean closer to God, means that you know that He's here, and then He tells you He's here, and that sincerity that people have with God, that's closest to God. And God is not some entity which is far away from here. No, that's not the case. Okay, I'm going to stop here and finish this.